Oh, yeah. So it should come up. You should see the countdown on the Facebook page. Yeah, my mother, she didn't bring it. 20 seconds. Five.
A very good evening to you. This is Clive Williams, and you're on Love Talk. You know, today is a very profound day for most Americans. As a matter of fact, if you should do a poll around the world, the significance of 9/11 is felt throughout the entire world. There's there's no country, and unless you live under a rock and have been there for the last 20 years, there's nobody that has not been impacted in some way or other by 9/11 and the events that preceded it, happened during 9/11, and the events after. Personally, my two children, my son and daughter, were in the neighborhood when 9/11 took place. Did I know that at the time, that they were being impacted by the events of 9/11? Didn't know. In fact, my memory serves me that I was standing right next to the congressman in Congressional District 6, Gregory Meeks, right here in Queens and Long Island. I was standing right next to him in the gym when the events took place, when the first aircraft hit the towers. And we stood in disbelief as we watched. It was like so surreal. We thought we were watching a movie, except that it was a news item and that everybody was frightened out of their minds. There was pandemonium, but it seemed absolutely surreal. For the victims, which at last count, 2,996 souls were lost. I'm sure there could be more. What is even more dark and troubling is the fact that so many of these bodies have never been recovered. Never been recovered. How does a parent, how does a husband, how does a aunt, cousin, mother, father deal with that? How do you deal with that? How do you deal with the fact that your loved one is gone and there's not a remnant of that person? So it puts you in a kind of suspended animation, if you will. You know, you are aware, but you're suspended because you don't know the fate. Although you know your loved one is gone, there's no proof that that one is gone. So somewhere in the recesses of your mind, and I know it's human, that you're thinking, could it be that my loved one was spared and just nobody knows where he or she might be? That's troubling. And, you know, for those of us who kind of figure that we're over it, because this happened 20 years ago. For the people who've lost loved ones, they can never be over it. They can achieve some, what I call catharsis, by talking about it, by opening up about it. Now, for me, this is very personal, not only because my 2 children were in the vicinity when this happened. Thank God that there were no residual effects on their lives. My son had some respiratory problems for a while, and he's part of the register of people who were in the vicinity when it happened. But thank God there are no lasting, there's no lasting trauma, I think. And we can only make this assumption now because time will tell. But personally, because a friend of mine, dear friend of mine from high school, we're both youngsters, somewhere in the vicinity of 11, 12 years old when we met in high school. Crossley Williams, he happens to share my name. We haven't checked to find out if we're related. We just never did. We just assumed that we were because we're friends from school. He happened to captain one of the teams that I played on, and Crossley lost his son, his only son, Crossley Jr., on that fateful day of September 11, 2001. I don't think Crossley has ever spoken about the event to the extent that he might be speaking with me now. So if you're watching this program, watching the show, please call a friend if you've been impacted by 9/11 and tell them to join you in watching. I'm going to welcome on board Crossley Williams. I'm going to also invite Bernard, our resident numerologist, and Lisa Gillings, if at any point they want to jump into this discussion, feel free to join us. Crossley, do we have Crossley up? Hi, Crossley. Are you hearing us, Crossley? Okay, we're gonna make contact with Crossley. We're seeing him, but we're not hearing from him. As soon as we hear from Crossley, he will join the discussion. But Bernard, you know, the profound impact of 9/11 is reverberating still.
Definitely.
Based on the numbers, what can we take away from that fateful day?
The problem I have with it is for what I would love is for people to have a better understanding of the world that we live in, and what and the systems, all the systems that we live by every day. Now we look at the 9 September, which is 9. What nine is a number of 9 is a humanitarian. Nines are teachers. Nines. When you have a 9 in you, you have more experience than most people. Everything is in the 9.
And when you say in you, you're talking about, how does that 9 come about, Bernard?
Okay. When I look at my birthday, the 2 numbers that comes up my birthday is the number 4 and the number 9. The 4 is what makes me a mathematician. The 9 is what makes me a humanitarian. So that comes from the Creator. You see, and our purpose and our destiny comes from the Creator, and our mentality and our personality comes from our parents. But our parents weren't taught how to balance that. You see, everything must have a number for it to be in existence. You see? And so if we understand the numbers that we have, we could balance ourselves. You see? And look, Nelson Mandela, a 9. Look what he went through. And look what he accomplished. Mother Teresa, a 9. You see? So if a person does not have the 9 in their names or in their birth dates, then they're not kind people. They're selfish people. You know, you see? You cannot produce what you don't have.
So the 9/11, and at this point, we're going to go deeper in that discussion. I want to find out if Crossley is with us. Crossley, we're waiting till folks. Let me tell you, this is one of the challenges of this pandemic. We've had to communicate virtually, and despite the great technology we have, there are going to be little glitches as long as we continue to have this pandemic. And talking about that, I took my grandson to get his vaccination. And as you know, once you get the vaccine, you should stay wherever you are for anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes before you leave the area, just to make sure you're okay. And in that 10 to 15 minutes, my grandson and I, we moved around the pharmacy and decided to browse in the aisle, the magazine aisle. And once we're in the magazine aisle, my grandson tapped me and said, "Could you get this book for me, this magazine?" And I said, "What is it?" And the magazine was the Time magazine, celebrating, well, not celebrating, forgive my choice of words, but talking about the 20 years since 9/11, the commemoration of 9/11. And the magazine is very powerful. You should get the Time magazine just to make sure you have something that commemorates 20 years since 9/11. So my grandson asked, "Could I get this?" And I found that strange. He's 13 years old. So I asked him, "Why would you know how it is with 13-year-olds. You have a hard enough time getting them to be interested in reading, right? Much less to ask for the commemoration edition of Time on 9/11. And his answer to me was that I've heard about 9/11 so much, I want to read about it for myself. And I thought that was deep. And so I got the Time edition, not advertising Time, but certainly this commemoration issue you should grab a hold of. It takes you to a place where, events that we have forgotten, the significance of certain symbols that we should really remember about 9/11. So I desperately want to talk to Crossley, and I want to bring him on board. So I'm going to talk to my producer about, Crossley, are you there? We can see you, Crossley. Can you hear me? Is there a delay? Crossley, can you hear me?
There's no delay, because we could hear his house. I don't know if he has the mic on.
Yeah.
He's not.
Okay, so what we're going to do, Mr. Producer, can we go for a short break? Yeah, let's go for a break. This is Love Talk. I'm Clive Williams. You're here with Lisa Gillings, Bernard Adolphus, and my friend Crossley Williams, who will attempt to connect to us. We'll be right back.
Are you ready to take your content to the next level? The live streaming market is booming, but with so many options out there, it's hard to know where to start. You've heard about doing live video and other video content on platforms like LinkedIn and Facebook, but you're not sure how to make the most of this or how this is going to help you with your business. You're not sure if creating a YouTube channel is going to help you get more customers or it's just a waste of your time. We will walk you through everything you need to succeed in live video with this 4-day immersive virtual bootcamp. We've got all bases covered, from choosing the right platform for your needs, planning an event, recording epic video content and editing it into something awesome, scheduling posts on social media, promoting your videos, and monetizing them effectively. This course is designed for everyone from total beginners who are just getting started in live streaming to those who want to grow their visibility and increase business by creating more valuable content. Leap into live streaming virtual bootcamp.
All right, how you guys doing?
Wait, how'd you get your video like that? Is that 4K or something?
Right, you got us over here looking like a hot mess.
No, it's actually a powerful live streaming app for Mac called Ecamm Live. You know what? Let me show it to you real quick. So you're able to use your mirrorless camera as a virtual webcam, and you can tweak the colors right in Ecamm Live using their camera effects, and then bring this video right into Zoom, Google Meet, and pretty much any other virtual meeting app. You can even stream directly to Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn and bring in comments right onto the video. And you can customize the look, size, and position of the comments right in the app. Or you can even add your logo to the corner of your video, or yourself, or both. There are plenty of picture-in-picture styles to choose from if you're sharing your screen for a tutorial or doing a presentation. And it doesn't have to be live. You can use it to record a course and eliminate the need to have to edit it later, all in 4K quality. And if you got a green screen, you can set it up right in Ecamm Live, and you can bring that into your different meetings. If you're feeling fancy, you can move yourself into the corner of your frame to do a commentary or a reaction video. You can even add in video clips just by dragging and dropping it in. Pretty much everything's drag and drop. Y'all follow me? Okay, good. So if you want to step it up a notch, you can add some overlays to your video, whether it's a simple graphic or you want to have some titles or other info at the bottom of your screen. You can even add animated overlays like this one or this one. And with Ecamm Live's interview mode, you have full control over the look and feel of your broadcast. And you can add branded overlays to frame you and your guests and look like a real legit broadcast. And you can save each layout as a scene and switch between them with the press of a button. You know, these days between virtual meetings, school, live streams, we on video all the time. So you just want to show up in a way where you can be confident and proud of. And for me, Ecamm Live is at the center of it all. Did y'all get all that?
You were on mute.
You get off the plane and you're like, wow, I'm alive.
You have to breathe because it's breathtaking.
Is the center of the world.
Brooklyn, Manhattan, Staten Island, Queens.
They have the Rockaways, the beach, or the Flushing Meadow Park.
Small places that you never think exist.
From there, we'll go up to the Bronx.
Nature. Brooklyn. You got Coney Island. You get to happen upon things.
Yes.
Manhattan never gets outclassed.
Chelsea, Soho. Hay cosas ya de lujo. Es un área bien fancy, ¿me entiendes?
Go to the Empire State Building, go to the top of Rockefeller Center.
Staten Island.
Staten Island, there's something for everybody.
New York City's an awesome place to come with family.
You got things for kids, you got things for adults.
Even like museums have amazing story times.
That's the beauty of this organic city. It creates new flavors of what once was coming from another country.
All of it. Everyone's welcome. The biggest rainbow in the world.
Ελάτε στη Νέα Υόρκη.
New York State's largest African American Chamber of Commerce, known as LIAACC, is now accepting new membership candidates. LIAACC has appeared on WABC, Here and Now, NBC's Positively Black, WLIW21, FIOS1, and in Long Island Business News. Membership consists of a variety of men and women of distinction who have been bestowed some of the most prestigious awards in the region. We host monthly membership meetings and signature events, including the Long Island African American Business Expo, Annual Health Fair, Ladies of LIAACC Annual Women's History Month program, and our annual Black History Month art exhibition. Join by simply logging on to our easy new membership sign-up portal at www.liaacc.org.
Hi, my name is Maya Delgado, and I am the brand ambassador of Kids Break Down. And this is my demo video. Enjoy!
Download app on Google Play or App Store.
Create account. Choose avatar.
Enter Kids Breakground Roadmap.
Roadmap consists of math, spelling, memorization, and matching mini games.
After each minigame, personality and interest questions appear to pinpoint which job may suit you best. After completion of all 8 minigames, you will be presented with jobs you may want to learn more about.
Read fun facts about all the different types of jobs within the law, science, and arts career.
Use your gold bricks to make your job environment fully complete.
Go back and play minigames to earn more bricks if needed. I hope you enjoyed the Kids Breakdown demo video. Make sure to download today and share with your friends. This platform will pave the way for kids who are just like me, the groundbreakers of tomorrow.
And we're back.
Whether you're a recent listener, just started listening to this show, watching the show rather, and listening, or you have watched for the last several weeks, you'll know one thing, that we are built on a foundation or pillars, 4 pillars. Love of God, love of self, love of family, love of community. And so we get together to talk about love in a very special way. We tend to see love and deal with love in the raw. It has to be an intimate situation before we think or discuss love. But love is way more than that. And so, in reaching out to the community at this time, as we commemorate 20 years of 9/11, and the profound and lasting effect it has had on members of our community, we're reaching out in love to a brother who has a son who was fallen 20 years ago, Crossley Williams Jr. Crossley Williams Sr., are you with us?
I'm with you, Mike. Clive.
It is great to hear from you. We are so happy that we're able to make this connection. Crossley, knowing you as long as I've known you for, I don't want to say how many years because I've said it already. We went to school together, and you lost your son. I have my son. And one would say, that's not a fair deal. We have no idea why it happened. And that's, I think, the whole process of trying to ask why is fruitless, meaningless. I think what we ought to seek to do is find out how we can deal with the situation. And so, my friend, I want to ask you, on this particular day that we commemorate 20 years of 9/11, and you are celebrating 50 years of marriage, what a complex situation. How do you feel?
It's unreal, Clive. It's one way I'm suffering, another day I'm rejoicing. So I don't know where to put these two equations. But I'm happy for my 50 years, but I'm sad for over the past 20 years. My son was not only my son, he was also my friend, which probably precedes son because we were really good friends. And then one day on 9/11/2001, he called my office and says a plane had hit the building, or a helicopter hit the building, he said. So at that time, I know very little about the city. So I called my wife and we went on a 3-way conversation. And she said to him, "Get out now, get out." And that's the last conversation that I had with him. Days and days and weeks after that, we called hospitals, we called every possible place that he could have been if he was injured, and we never found him. 2 days ago, I mentioned that some parent from Long Island had found a family member.
Yeah.
And gave me hope, but then nothing. So the pain continues. The pain of closure continues.
That's the word, closure. Have you been talking about this?
Not really. I keep my thoughts to myself. I do not bring up too much to my wife because a mother's pain, I'm sure, is worse than the father's. So it passes in conversation, but infrequently. And you mentioned just now that you had your son. I don't have, but I'm happy for you that you have yours. I envy no one who has their son. I applaud them. I celebrate with them, but there's no envy.
It means that there's no. It means that there's no bitterness either. So I have known you as one of the most selfless people. You are there. Your job is in the community. You deal with a diverse group of people in our communities. You serve as a notary public, as a very prominent business person in the community. And so every day that you interact with people is a constant reminder of the son that you had. Because every interaction you have are with family members. And you have lost a member of your family. And it rubs salt in the wound. Where do you find the resourcefulness? Where do you find the strength? And wherever you find that strength, how do you manage to continue so hopeful and so positive? Because whenever I see you, you're always positive, you're always encouraging, always uplifting.
It was difficult in the early years. However, when I think of the memories, the good times I had with him, then there's no pain. It's a joy. Just, for an example, a weird example, I'm at the office on a Saturday, and he'll call me and says, somewhere or someplace like that has a 2-for-1, he's going to bring me a sandwich. Things like that I remember. It's no sadness when I think about him now. It's a good feeling. I wish this hadn't happened, but it was beyond my control. So my thoughts of him now, it's joyful and positive.
Yeah, let me turn to one of my panel here. I have Lisa and Bernard, who I introduced to you earlier on. Do you guys have any thoughts on how does one go through life with this? And I'm going to say with this challenge, because for Crossley, he has overcome burden, but yet there is no closure. What is it? What happens in your mind, Bernard?
That's a very good question, because it's hard to determine. With different people act in different ways about things like debt. For me, I look at we're supposed to talk about love. We're supposed to love each other, help each other, love your neighbor. And so when God takes one of us, we don't feel that deep hurt, because we have given what we can, we have helped when we can, we have done whatever we can to help that person or your community or whatever the case may be. I look at everything number-wise. Today is a 7th day. Look at the 7 alone, 7 days in a week. 52 weeks in a year, 5 and 2 is 7. 7 colors in a rainbow. 7 notes your musical scale. The 7 seas scrolls. The sea is 7. The earth is 7. 7 is the only perfect number. In the alphabet, it's the A, it's a G, the P, and the Y. That represents the number 7. In the calendar, it's the 7th, the 16th, and the 25th. 2 plus 5, 1 plus 6 is the same 7. Everything must have a number for it to be in existence, and we live in a world of systems.
So are we saying that based on the kind of numbers you're talking about, that the 20-year commemoration might be somewhat healing, that people might begin to find some closure? And what magical event is going to happen? Crossley, short of your son's remains being found, that there might be some forensic way that your son's remains could be discovered. Would that give you some closure?
Give me a whole lot of closure. It's now each birthday, I can't go to the cemetery and say a prayer at his grave or bring flowers.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to go. I frequently go down to the World Trade Center, not on the day of the 11th. We don't go on 11 because it's too crowded. We go a week or 2 or 3 after.
Yeah.
A week after, generally a week after. My wife just corrected me. And we just quietly view the sites, look at his pictures, and pray.
Yeah.
But it's without a place to visit, it's very difficult.
Now, clearly there are other fathers, mothers like yourself. Have you been in touch with any of these folks?
In the early years, I was in contact with 2 people that I got close to. One of them passed away, and the other one I haven't heard from in quite some time. So in regarding to, the pain and stuff, I've found a way to deal with that and accept it in my own way.
It is in the business that I was involved in many years ago, offering counsel to my fellow travelers. I would suggest and recommend highly that you find a group from which you draw strength, a group who shared a similar experience that you'd interact with on a regular basis. Now, I know this is not easy, but do you think, even after 20 years, because from all I've seen and read, there are the resources, are there really the resources that the city, the state has set up so that they could find some kind of grief counseling, some sort of grief comforting for you?
There has been grief counseling available, but I choose not to partake because I have dealt with it on my own. I'm comfortable in how I've dealt with it. I'm not depressed. I'm not in, I have fellowship with my church members. I had an excellent pastor who just moved out of state, who anytime I had a situation I could talk to. There was one person who was a pastor who was extremely helpful. But I don't need that support now because I have conquered it on my own.
My friend, Lisa, do you have anything to? Well, until you gather your thoughts, 'cause this is heavy, and here it is. I'm talking to a friend, and for those of you watching on Facebook, and you might be watching on another channel, certainly YouTube, we want to just ask you to give us your energy, your vibrations here, as we discuss one of the real aftershocks of 9/11, someone who we know, we love, we can identify with, who has lost a son. Could I handle that? I don't know, but I know this man well. And the fact that 20 years later, he is handling this and he is not in critical care in any kind of emergency room for any mental compromise, then he is indeed a hero. Crossley, I am as pained, certainly nowhere near where you are. But this morning, I'm not an early riser, make that confession. But I got up early, and as you know, I celebrated 50 years of marriage myself, and that was yesterday. It was really great, and I got up feeling vibrations of that I couldn't explain, really, really deep. And it dawned on me as the day wore on that, yeah, I'm feeling something, and what I'm feeling is a sense of loss. I can't say I'm feeling your loss because I don't know how to identify that feeling of loss. But I do know that as I talk to you now, I realize that there are 2,996 people who perished that day, if the numbers are correct, if they even know the correct number. Whatever that number is, these are the number of families that have been impacted by this. And for us to have one person like you in our community who has had this experience is indeed unique, because in this country of over 330 million people, that is just a percentage of a percentage of a percentage that is going through this kind of traumatic pain and suffering. Certainly, there was some compensation, but is there anything that can compensate for the loss of a son? And not just the loss of a son, the loss of a friend, a confidant. Where do we go from here? Where in your mind, Crossley, do we go from here? In trying to understand what happened, in trying to in trying to prevent what happened, in trying to find some path in which we can, a middle ground, where we can find some peace. Where?
It's very difficult to say I can find, there's peace, but then there's no peace. For those people who are maybe in my position, if they need support, a pastor, if the church, a group, they should do that. However, they can find some relief or some help in their pain, they should go to that direction. I can only say I did it my way and it worked for me. Right now I'm sitting thinking of him and I'm smiling because all my thoughts about him were good. There was never anything he did negative in life which I could regret. So my thoughts of him are always positive. And like I mentioned, everybody gets support in different ways. If you need support, seek it from a family member, someone in the church, somebody in the community, some experts. But for me, I have dealt and continue to deal with it in my way.
Yeah. Cross, not to in any way underestimate the feelings and the emotions that you feel and people in your position feel. But there's a school, there's an opinion that each of us here for a purpose. And once we fulfill that purpose, we depart this, we transition this reality to another place. But there's also a school of thought that says God has taken our loved one from us. That's another school of thought, a school of thought that I consider extreme. And there is a gray area school of thought that says, I don't really know what happened. All I know, I have to live with it. Where do you think you fall?
I trust in the Almighty. I believe that all our days are numbered. Some have 2 years, some have 100 years. So we have to accept what's dealt to us. We have no control. We can't say we want to live 2 days longer if our day has come. So in some regards, I accept the fact that his day had come, even though I do not like it.
My friend, when we were much younger, you were the captain of a team that I played on. Now I know why you were invested in with that responsibility. You know why? Because you're a leader. You know why? Because you're strong. You know why? Because you're resilient. And the fact that you were captain then of our young lives, you have remained captain of your life. It taught you a set of resources and made you so resourceful that you have managed to survive even this most
horrendous
time. And I just want to lift my hat to you. I want to tell you that you're a hero, your wife. You both are heroes for what you have maintained throughout the years that I've known you. You have not changed, except that you have grown more contemplative, more considerate, maybe even more thoughtful. Is there anything else you would like to say before we part company this evening?
Thanks for having me, Clive. I appreciate it, and I hope what I had to say would help somebody out there, give them a little strength and and maybe a little peace.
Yeah. My friend, to you and Valerie both, we send our love and our heartiest support. God bless you. Thank you very much for the courage of sharing with us. I hope this provides some catharsis. I hope this provides some relief, not just to you, but to many others who might be watching. Crossley, we thank you.
Thank you, and God bless you and all those who are suffering.
Thank you, Valerie. Thank you, my friend. Clive Williams, Love Talk. We'll be right back. We take a short break.
Are you ready to take your content to the next level? The live streaming market is booming, but with so many options out there, it's hard to know where to start. You've heard about doing live video and other video content on platforms like LinkedIn and Facebook, but you're not sure how to make the most of this or how this is going to help you with your business. You're not sure if creating a YouTube channel is going to help you get more customers or it's just a waste of your time. We will walk you through everything you need to succeed in live video with this 4-day immersive virtual bootcamp. We've got all bases covered, from choosing the right platform for your needs, planning an event, recording epic video content and editing it into something awesome, scheduling posts on social media, promoting your videos, and monetizing them effectively. This course is designed for everyone from total beginners who are just getting started in live streaming to those who want to grow their visibility and increase business by creating more valuable content. Leap into live streaming virtual bootcamp.
We're back. Today's a rough day, emotionally for everyone. Everyone who cares, that is. I want to invite now my guest because, you know, the conversation before was so deep that we couldn't get here as soon as we wanted to. Lisa, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you. Now, let me just remind our people watching that we're on Facebook, okay? But follow us on Instagram at Our World Media, because this platform is provided by Our World Media. That's Our World Media. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Our World Media 1. I'm Clive Williams, and this is Lisa Gillings, and we're going to talk to Lisa about her walk. Her walk. She has written 4 books, poems, and she has recently written her memoir, right? Right, Lisa? Now, you're too young to write a memoir.
Why? Thank you. Thank you.
What is it that you have to tell us?
Okay. You know, I'm from Jamaica, and my memoir...
I'm not Jamaica. We're in Jamaica now, right?
Jamaica, West Indies.
Okay, so...
I'm sorry.
Just to get that straight.
Jamaica, West Indies. I'm sorry.
That's all
yes.
right. No.
And my memoir is based on my life growing up in Jamaica, not having a mother, father, and just growing up, you know, with other relatives, or if they get tired of you, you shipped off to the country because you might not be listening, you know, so forth. So my memoir is based on my life. My poetry is also based on my struggle, like stuff that I went through. Or if it's poetry talking to God, just ready to depart the world, because I kept saying, got to be a better place. If I'm suffering this much on earth, it got to be somewhere better than earth. So a lot of my poems is based on what I went through.
You know, there are a lot of people, Lisa, who believe that, oh, well, man, you guys grew up in the Caribbean, sun and sea, and life must be beautiful. Why was life so tough, you think?
My life was hard because I didn't have a mother and father. My mother didn't want me. And my father was in the house with me. And I mean, I'm sorry to say, I don't call him a father. I said a sperm donor, because it really take a great man to be a father. You can't put a claim on give a person a title that's not deserving. You know, so when you don't have parents that care, you go through so much in life. And, you know, there was one secret that I told a cousin in Texas that nobody in the family know, just that one cousin. And, you know, it's something that goes on in the West Indies. It goes on in other households. I could only speak about the West Indies because that's where I'm from. And it's like sexual molestation, you know? You know, thank God I was never raped, but I was molested for years, you know? And it was hard.
You know, anecdotally, as you speak to women like yourselves, do you get a feedback from them that this is a common problem?
Yes. Yes, it's
Too
very
common?
common. It's very common, yes.
We are on a mission here at Love Talk to do what we call the Black Love Project, right? I share this passion with Bernard. I've shared it with Annette. And the Black Love Project wants to deal specifically here, wherever the need is, with this issue of self-love, right?
Yes.
Bernard, it is my considered and humble opinion that we have been disabled from the beginning as a people, right? And that disability has lasted. Now, we don't want to admit that. Nobody wants to talk about it. It's the elephant in the room. Nobody wants to talk about the fact that we have been willfully disabled. Now, in today's world, when people are disabled physically, they are given tools to deal with that disability. Walkers, they're given carts to ride in. Whatever the physical disability is, there is an invention for prosthesis to deal with it. But there is no intervention adequate to deal with a kind of trauma of mental disability. And that's a subject that I want to get into. I mean, so how did you get your catharsis? How did you start getting out of this place in your head where you needed to find peace? What did you do?
I write. And as my memoir, I write that and I cried.
When did you finish your memoir?
We're in 21, maybe 4 years ago. Yeah, and I wrote it and I cried, yes.
And why
I was angry.
Did it help with your anger?
It helped. I listened to Mr. Williams said he didn't go to a support group. I self-therapy myself. I wrote. I write. I had a friend that bought the book and she read it and she cried because I'm always laughing. You never know if I'm dying or not. You don't know what's going on. I'm always smiling. And she cried because she said she seen me, but she didn't know I went through this,
How many books have you written?
I've written 4. 2 poetry. Spookville, which is geared toward the teenagers, a little scary story, and my memoir. And
tell us, the titles of these, and they're available on Amazon.
Amazon and Barnes and Noble.
And your name is Lisa Gilling.
Lisa Ann Gillens. If you Google my name, it comes up.
Lisa, say it again.
Lisa Ann Gillens.
And the books are available on
Amazon and Barnes and Noble. And I also have BelisaQuotes.com. I write quotes, which we put on T-shirts, hats, bottle, phone case, baby bibs. And they're just motivational,
What kind of conversation do these spark with your, with other women? Are they conversations that men would not like to hear?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
It just
women seem to be bonding on a level today that I've not seen before, which is a profound good thing. Do you think that bonding is becoming anti-male because of our weaknesses and predilections as men to do things to women that used to be considered okay and no longer acceptable? I mean,
I should say, well, I guess some men would have issues with that. Because it's where if you have a woman that went through abuse, and it's not embarrassing, it's not an embarrassing situation, and I went through abuse, and when you find other women that you sit and talk, and it builds them up, or you inspire them, and it's like, okay, you uplift them. A lot of men might not go for that because no, the woman's standing up for herself, or so forth, But listen, it's not anything embarrassing, and I don't necessarily think people might say, oh, because you were abused, you pick up somebody that abused you or whatever. No. No. Sometimes I think in my situation, I could talk for me. I wasn't patient. I did not wait. I just leap. And just from leaping, I paid dearly for that. But it made me a more stronger, more grounded person, But a lot of men would get, have an issue with that. When women now, we're bonding together, we're talking about what we went through. And you have some women that say, well, if the man abused and you leave. Listen, you can't say that till you walk the walk. I didn't leave. It's funny, I have a lot of family here. I didn't leave because it was just me and my kids. I was scared. I was scared of the guy. I was scared. It's in my books, I wrote about it too. I was scared. But then finally, it took a debt. of a 18-year-old that I work with, 20-year-old in the hospital. It took his death to motivate me. That's when I start opening up. And people are like, you come to work every day and you're laughing and you interacting with these mentally ill patients and you counseling them, when I wish somebody would talk to me or know what's going on in my world. But that death opened my eyes and that made me leave. I left with my 2 kids, the clothes on my back, and I never looked back. I'm not going to say I never had a rough time. Yes, I did. But I bet you nobody knew about it.
Lisa Gillings, we're going to have you back.
Thank you.
Because this is an area that we need to really ventilate in our community.
Yes. Yes.
Brother Bernard, you and I would be considered old school guys, right? And there's some things that we used to see happen, still see happening, that ain't supposed to happen. I have a grandson who is looking right back at me right now. And I hope he heard every word that Lisa said. There is no room for that kind of abuse. No. And we salute you for just standing up, talking about it. And your books are available on Amazon.
Yes,
Lisa Gillings
and
Gillings on Amazon
yes.
and Barnes & Noble. Just Google Lisa N. Gillings. I'm Clive Williams, my friend, and this is Love Talk. I trust that you will join me again next week as we continue to talk more about ourselves. We're discussing our needs. We're discussing our pain, our trauma. Join me again next week. Call a friend, tell a friend, email, text, whatever you need to do. We'll be back next week. Bernard, thank you very much. Lisa, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
My brilliant engineer and my grandson who is giving me signals to wrap up. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening, however difficult that might be, because as we consider people like Crossley Williams, who has lost his son, let us be a little bit more respectful and be a little bit more somber about this day. Thank you. Good night.